What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Kingpin's Talk Podcast. It's myself and Don the Kingpin. We're back. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to be back, man. Feels like forever since we done did a live episode, but I got to keep reminding myself that, it's been like last month since we did an episode. So it's good to be back, man. I'm excited for what's in store for this evening, man. I'm ready to get started.
Okay, yes, sir. I'm excited about it too because last time we had a kind of delay when I was just starting out with my new page, and now finally I'm kind of in a good position where we can be able to really run this thing and not run into any issues. So I'm excited about that for sure.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I'm sorry for you as well, man. And again, I'm sorry that happened to you, man. But new beginnings comes with new blessings. So I'm glad that everything worked out like it worked out, and you was able to get a new page and start fresh. So yeah, man, happy for you.
Yes, sir. I definitely am looking forward to this. But we are talking today about, as you see probably at the bottom of the screen, eliminating suppression and speaking out. This is going to be we actually discussed this topic prior to us actually playing the show because one of our mutual friends' death anniversary came up a couple weeks ago. So we immediately was like, we need to touch on this topic right here. So it was kind of inspired from there. So
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely, man. And then plus, this is one of the topics that we in a, and I don't mean to put in a racial sense, but we as an African American community has dealt with for some time. We talking about generation to generation. So we're just here to eliminate that, man, because we want to express ourselves to you like we always do, and we want to express the importance of just speaking out, without the fear of being judged and looked down upon and all that. So I felt led to speak on this today. So I'm glad that we was able to come today and talk about this particular topic.
Yes, sir. That's the biggest thing too, because a lot of us do struggle with the topic of not really opening up on a lot of things, and sometimes it could be the ultimate demise for a lot of people, which is unfortunate too. And that's one of the reasons we really want to talk about this, because it kind of goes into what we have discussed before, but ultimately this is one of those things that we all struggle with. Like Don said, our community struggle with it the most because we are so tuned to being the strong people. You have to, if you're going through something, no, it's fine, you'll get through it, you pray through it, and sometimes it's not that simple. And that's one of the main things why we really want to talk about it today. We hit these comments real quick. Miss Willette, how you doing? She said, "Good evening, guys."
Hey, Miss Willette, good to see you again. Thanks for tuning in.
Let's see. Okay, what's going on, John? He said, "My brother, I love y'all. Love you too, bro, man. Good to see you back on there."
Love you too, bro.
Yes, sir. So I'm gonna let you start this one off. Where do you want to go with this?
I mean, I just want to touch bases on what is, exactly what is suppression. To me, I feel like suppression is like the muzzle. I don't know if you all, I'm pretty sure you all, there are dog and any type of animal owners, whether you own a cat or a dog or whatever. And then, you put this thing called a muzzle on them. And what a muzzle do is it eliminates them from making any noise or even opening their mouths or whatever. And I feel like that's what suppression does, man. It gets you to a point to where you don't want to say anything. You want to suppress your feelings. You want to suppress, how you feel. You want to suppress everything that's going on the inside of you. And it could be, in the case when a person is actually asking you, what do you want to say? What's on your mind? What's on your heart? It's a certain thing on Facebook that says, what's on your mind. And my thing is, if a app can ask you what's on your mind, and a person is asking you, a live human being is asking you what's on your mind, what stop you for telling them what's really on your mind? What's concerning you? Is it, fear? Maybe you've been hurt in the past from expressing yourself. Maybe you've been judged the wrong way from speaking out, and now you feel like you have to suppress. Like even for me, I grew up most of my life being the only child. Now I'm in a position where I have two sisters that's really, that's adopted, but I claim them as my sisters. But growing up, I was the only child. I was isolated. I was by myself. Even though I had my mom, it was just at a point to where I was afraid to even come out and say anything what was going on with me. On the outside, I was looking like I was okay. On the outside, I was looking like, everything was fine and everything was good and dandy. But on the inside, I was dealing with some things. I was dealing with a lot of things that concern my mom. I was dealing with a whole lot of things that concerned me, and just seeing certain things, in my childhood, experiences and stuff like that, and it made me suppress, and even in relationships, I found myself suppressing. People asking me, what's wrong with you, and I'd be like, nothing, I'm good, and knowing the inside was hurting, and I had to get to a point to where I had to say to myself, okay, this person is making an effort to see what's going on with me, what's wrong with me. They can clearly see what's wrong with me, but because I'm afraid to be exposed, I'm afraid to open myself up, I was suppressing. And that's good to know too, Joy. I did not know that as well. But yeah, man, it's something about that suppression, man. When you be isolated by yourself, you get, it opens up an opportunity for you to suppress, and I had to find out that suppression was a bad thing, because the fact that I was so closed, it prevented me from really being open. And so that's all I want to say at this point about suppression and the dangers of suppression.
I can agree with you 100% that suppression is one of those things where a lot of us sometimes can go through, because even for me now, I'm very, very authentic about a lot of things that I may deal with on a personal level. But there was a period of time I was the similar way, because I do have three sisters that was from my dad's side. However, we didn't grow up in the same household. So from my family, my mom is the youngest of nine. I was the only child in the house. Now I had three sisters, but I was the only child in the house.
Mhm.
Whereas the rest of my uh, cousins, with the exception of one, matter of fact, it's funny I said that. What's going on, Chris? He
So
that's my
we
cousin I was just about to talk about.
okay. What's
Um,
up? What's up, cuz?
we we, we were the two of the only ones that did not have a sibling in the household with us. So we were around each other a lot. I was around my two cousins, my two twin cousins a lot. So that was really where the feel of wanting to have a brother or sister in the house that you could grow up and bond with came from. So a lot of the things that you would go through as a kid, you would kind of put it to yourself because you didn't want to put too much on your mom, you didn't want to put too much on your dad and everything. And that was also one of the issues that I even suffered with when I was dealing with bullying in middle school, because that was one of the things that I ended up having to end up going to counseling about, because I couldn't take criticism when I was younger. So like anything anyone said about me would make me feel depressed to the point where I didn't talk about it, or I would run and go to a counselor's office and not know how to talk to the people that was closest to me.
Mhm.
And really going to therapy helped me with that, to the point now, like I'm probably one of those go-to guys for a lot of people. And it took me a while to get there. So one of the things that, right, Don was saying, as far as suppression, it can be a huge disaster if you do not get out there and speak about what's going on with you personally, because it doesn't matter how old you get, where stage you get into life, anything. If you're going through a storm, you need to be able to have someone to talk to, or be willing to open up about it. Because again, I'm sure you all hear the statement that closed mouths don't get fed. It's true. Because if you don't sit here and say, I'm struggling with this particular thing in life, whether it's mental, physical, financial, spiritual, no one can help you if you don't say anything. And I think sometimes that's the hardest thing for a lot of people, if they're so used to, I got this, I'm good, I'm strong, I don't need nobody telling me this. You, the people are brought into your life. I'm sure you hear it all the time, that people brought into your life for a season and a reason. You have to detect the two. However, the ones that are brought into your life for a reason, don't make them seasonal by shutting them out from you in the whole world. Because guess what? You can't receive the support that you want to receive if you're taking it out on them and they're like, okay, what's wrong? Man, I'm straight. Just leave me alone. No, you're not straight. Be able to talk about it. That's the way that you're able to build strong brotherhood, sisterhoods, family relationships, relationships with your significant other. Myself and Dontario, we've known each other since we were in high school. And that's something that we grew into as we got older. Like we talked sports when we was in high school, and
Yep.
as we became grown men, we were able to talk more on real life scenarios. So
Mhm.
you have to get to a point in life, and that also speaks to some level of growth. And that's not to say that you can't grow in other areas in life, but a big part of growing is a big part of being able to be authentic. Because I'm telling you, you never know how your testimony can be the signal for someone else to get through whatever storm they're in. But by keeping it to yourself, you're hurting you and possibly the next person.
Yeah. And I agree with everything that you said, man. It's this certain commercial I hear, that I've been seeing frequently. You have these two guys in the gym, and one dude is lifting, weights, and he's kind of struggling with it, and the other dude's like, "Hey man, you need some help." He's like, "Nah, man, I don't need no help." You see the dude clearly struggling with lifting up the weight, but he's saying, "No, I don't want no help." And one of the dangers about suppression is you're entering into a world of pride. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why people have a hard time expressing themselves and speaking out is because of pride. See, one thing about pride, man, pride can stop you from having living the best life to the fullest. Because, if you hold on to the pride and you think that, hey, as long as I got me, I'm good. As long as I don't tell how I feel, I'm good. No, you're not good. And I think of it as a soda bottle. We all like soda. I like soda. I'm pretty sure Nate likes soda. We all like soda. And one thing about that soda bottle, once you shake up that bottle, what it does, it starts fizzing. And when it starts fizzing, that means that hey, I'm ready to bust. And you're gonna shake it one good time and it's gonna bust. That cap is gonna blow off. And I feel like that's what suppression does. Suppression is just another step away from you exploding. Explode on everybody that loves you, explode on everybody that cares about you, exploding on just your life, your purpose, your destiny. And it shouldn't be like that. You should want to be relieved. You should want to be just empty of all the resentment and all the pride and the hurt and the shame and all that stuff. And I just feel like when we suppress, that means that hey, I don't want you to look at me. I don't want you to see my flaws. I don't want you to see what's wrong with me because that's gonna open me up. And I'm just speaking as a man. Nate's a man. I know we have some men on looking at it right now. We have to stop suppressing. We have to stop suppressing. Like we spoke on the previous topic. Men have been programmed since childbirth to be like, hey, you can't cry. Hey, you can't talk about what's wrong with you. Hey, you can't do that. You got to be hard. You got to be tough. And I've learned throughout my years of growing up, the toughest, the hardest men is the men who's not afraid to expose themselves. Because when you expose yourself, that means that you're showing everybody who you are. You're not out here trying to be fake. You're not out here try to lie to anybody. You're not out here trying to, just fake it till you make it. We hear that all the time, like a cliche. Oh, you got to fake it till you make it. No, you don't. The only way you're gonna make it is that if you be real. And the only way for you to be real is that you have to speak out and stop assuming that people are going to automatically know what's wrong with you. People aren't going to know what's wrong with you until you say what's wrong with you. We have to stop getting into the business of assumptions and start getting to the business of opening up. And that's one of the issues that I see with men nowadays. We're afraid to open up. And we have to break that generational curse because that's exactly what it is. That stuff that our dads, our grandfathers, our great grandfathers told us. You can't tell nobody what's wrong with you. No, that's a lie. You have to open up. We have to open up. And so, in order to eliminate suppression, we have to not be afraid to expose ourselves. Because when we speak out, we can get to the root of the problem, or else you would just be cutting down branches. So I'll just leave it right there for anybody else to come in, or you want to come in on it.
I love how you put that though, because That is so true. Jordan was name was herself and they went bros. Yes, sir. I've known you for 17 years now. 17 years strong, man.
Oh, that's
But
great to hear.
yeah, the pride thing, we've definitely discussed this on a previous show, and that is one of the things that will hurt a lot of people in the long run. Like Don said, you cannot be prideful when you are going through a storm. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes your storm is meant for a particular people or a particular thing to come in and shape you up to be the better man or woman in your life, but you're avoiding it because you don't want any help. You're not willing to take the moment and say, because let me put it to you like this: you could be going through things that is inflicted from the world, that is
Mm-hmm.
inflicted from a circumstance, and also self-inflicted. You also got to be willing to say, I made this mistake right here, and I got to rebound from this. I've made this mistake right here, and I need to rebound from this. And maybe I need to talk to someone that can give me the guidance because I'm not happy with what I chose in this decision. If you
Mm-hmm.
haven't had that conversation with yourself, you are already a step behind the game. You
Yep.
got to at some point say, I did not make the right decision here. I did not make the best choice here. And suppressing is making a bad choice because you are preventing yourself from growing through the pains that you have in life. And don't get me wrong, there are things that all of us in a one way or another struggle with that is a long-term thing. Sometimes life can prevent you from feeling like you can open up because you were accustomed to a certain situation, so you were accustomed to a comfort zone. That is the worst way to be. You do not want to put yourself in a comfort zone to where anytime something doesn't go in your favor, you're going to suppress it, and then it's and that's and I have to exclude this one out for certain men. There are some men who they are like, look, I'm going through something, so I'm gonna go ghost for a week or a month or a year and get myself right and then come back. You are losing yourself by doing that because guess what happens in your head? You're gonna have good thoughts and bad thoughts. That thing called anxiety is real
Mm-hmm.
because you might be believing in yourself on this side of the fence, but on that other side of the fence, that doubt's gonna win. Because guess what? You're not talking to someone that's coaching you through this, that's motivating you through this. And you gotta be willing to say that because I promise you, you will become a better man, woman, anyone that's watching this show. You will become better at anything that you want to do in life by being willing to say, this is the storm I'm going through. You never know who's going to be a blessing to you in the long run, but you're going to avoid the blessing by not speaking up about it. I goes to what Michael Jordan said: you miss you miss the thousands of shots that you don't take. How do you expect to get better in life if you're not willing to say, I'm going through this storm? What would be the best way? And also, we're not excluding the man above in the conversation too. You gotta definitely talk to him, but he also brings people into your life to help you walk through those journeys while you're on this earth. So don't be excluding those people. And then when it hits the fan, like Don mentioned with a soda bottle, once that soda bottle explodes, you don't know what your actions is gonna be. You don't know where you're gonna go in the direction of. That's where certain things, that's where certain unfortunate decisions come. Some people, we haven't touched on this topic a lot on this show, from the topic of suicide. That's where some of those suicidal thoughts come from because you continue to pack in all those negative thoughts, negative mindset. You're not willing to talk about it, and then you feel like I'm going to end my pain here. No, that makes your pain worse.
Mm-hmm.
By taking the time out to say, this is where I'm struggling with, you become a better man or woman. Don't miss out on that opportunity because you're gonna miss it, and then you may make a decision that you'll regret down the road and say, "Why did I do this?" Don't you sure? I'm sure a lot of you can understand this. Every single one of the people that went through the decision, made a tough decision in life, whether they are not here anymore, whether they made a decision that affected their life in a negative way, they will go back to that day and say, "I wish I would have did it different." Don't be that man or woman to do that. Take that time for yourself. It's imperative because if you don't, it starts to lead to a long road of bad decision making. Don't put yourself in that position. You are this driver of your life. So you are big on whether you bring good energy in or bad energy in. Don't be the person to suppress everything and lose out on that. And I'm gonna turn it over to Don on that note real quick.
I like what you said. I like everything. I agree 100% on what you said. And one thing that you said was is that, some people have the tendency of being like, oh, I'm gonna go ghost, for a little bit. I'm going ghost for a month or a year. One thing about suppression, man, it feeds off, like you said, anxiety. It feeds off loneliness. And one thing about, and I'm gonna turn to for those of you that know me, I'm gonna turn to a spiritual sense. One thing that the enemy likes to do is play with your mind. If he can get your mind, then he got you. He know he cannot enter in unless you give him room. And I feel like when you suppress, when you refuse to tell anybody what's going on with you, when you refuse to open up to people, he gonna mess with that. That's cracking the door for him to do what he wants to do. And one thing about it, at the end of the day, that's what he wants. He wants you to be alone. He wants you to feel alone. Once you get to the feeling of, oh, I'm alone. Once you start thinking, oh, I'm alone, he feeds off of that. And he gonna make you. And one thing about it is, to me, I feel like suppression turns into depression, because when you get to the depression stage, that means that I don't care about my life. I don't care about where I'm going. I don't care who loves me. I don't like it doesn't matter anymore. And that's when those suicidal thoughts come in, because you're just so tired of how life is going, and how things are going, and you just want the end. But I'm here to serve the devil notice on today. You don't have to live that way. You don't have to feel like you're alone, because you're not alone. Just like Nate said, you got Jesus. And one thing about Jesus is, and it's so fascinating, is that even when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, and he was having a conversation with God, he was like, hey, you know, I know that I know you told me what to do, but hey, this is hard. I don't see myself doing this. If take this cup away from me. But he said, not my will, but let your will be done. He could have held that stuff in. He could have suppressed. Think about that. The all seeing, the all knowing, the Almighty opened up about how he was feeling. Everybody think that Jesus didn't have emotions. Yes, he had emotions. Yes, even Jesus had emotions, and he had to speak out. So who are you to not feel like you can't open up and express yourself? You don't have to seclude yourself in a corner, because that's what the enemy wants. He wants you to seclude yourself. Now I get it. You have to go away and all this stuff, and all this short term stuff out and all that stuff. Like you're wasting time. And that's one thing you can never go back you can never get back when it's gone. You can't get money back when it's gone. You can't get time back when it's gone. I feel like that's the two things that you can waste and never get back. Because once it's gone, it's going to take more time for you to get that back and to catch up to where you were. So, stop wasting time and just open up. Open up to people, because you have people around you that cares about you and that loves you, and that they won't amplify what's going on with you, but they will, help you with what's wrong, and they're here for you. So just speak out. Speak out. I even had to learn it, even in marriage I had to learn how to speak out, because I still had that concept of, okay, let me not tell her this so that she won't be worried. Let me not tell her this because I know she got other things on her plate. No, 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 no. We talked about this in self-love. You cannot forfeit who you are and how you think just to satisfy somebody else. Because at the end of the day, whether that person is here or not, you still have you to take care of. And you speaking out, you eliminate suppression out of your life. That's another element of loving yourself. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, you'll want that other person to tell you what's going on with them. So once you do yourself some justice and tell other people when the opportunity presents itself to speak out. Now, I'm not saying that you just go out here and just speak out to everybody, because everybody don't have your best interest at heart. Let me go ahead and say that right now. Everybody does not have your best interest at heart, because once you open up to that certain person, some people would turn that and use that to judge you. They would use that to just shame you. See, there you go. Now you out here. Oh, you out here eating all, acting all high and mighty. Look at you. Look at you. You're dealing with this. We have to be careful who we open up ourselves to, because some people will take advantage of you. And that comes another thing about self-love. You have to love yourself enough to only tell people things that you have to open yourself up to people that you trust. Because no, everybody is not trustworthy. Everybody does not have your best interests at heart. And only you can discern that. Not your mom, not your dad, your sister, your brother, your cousin, uncle. It don't matter. Only you can discern that, of who's for you and who's not. So, when you open it up, when you start making the decision to open yourself up, just be wise. Just be wise for who you open up yourself to, because not everybody have your best wishes at heart. I just want to leave that right there.
I love that you touched on that too, because that is so true. As we are talking about be willing to open up with individuals, you do have to know who is key to open up to, because there are some people that we all know of the term messy, that they will take the downfall that you're going through and spread it to whoever that will listen to it, just because there are some people that misery loves company. And that actually is funny you started there, because that leads into this question from Miss Willette. Do you think people feel it's hard to open up because they don't want to be looked down on by others? I'm going to say yes and no. And I'm going to hit the no part first. I said no to this answer because some people are content with being stuck in their misery. And they would rather not get through certain things in life and have a negative mindset than talk to somebody, and they don't care if it's whether it's looked upon or anything, because there are some people that are okay with being victims and they're not willing to change and get better as far as the storm they're going through. And usually those people stay stuck in that storm for years and years down the road because they're not comfortable, because they rather have someone say, I'm so sorry you're going through this. Because the one thing that happens with the people that going to my answer of no is, once this person gets tired of hearing their story, then they go to the next person and the next person and the next person and the next person. And the one thing about that is, eventually their story starts to add up, and then this person leaves their life, that person leaves their life, that person leaves their life, because they're noticing the trend here. So that's why I said no. Yes is definitely obvious, because of course there are people that are worried about being looked down upon, and that is the struggle that goes back to what Don said about the spirit of discernment. You do have to know who you're going to be willing to open up to. Everyone is not able to handle what you're opening up to them about either. That's another thing. There are some people who, as I mentioned, are messy, but there are some people who they don't have the mental capacity to help you walk through that storm that you're in, because that's the next thing that you have to put in mind. Is this person able to give me the information necessary to walk through this journey? If they don't match what you think, they're not the person to open up to. So the people that you open up to, yes, you should give them the opportunity to. And one thing that you have to also look into is never worry about being looked down upon others, because everyone has their own struggle in life. But you will hurt yourself by not speaking about what you're going through from the concern. And it could go even into pride. There are some people who have to put on a facade to the world, whether it's on social media, whether it's in public, wherever. The one thing that happens in life is eventually the struggles catch up to you. And Don, I'm sure you probably know this story as well. I mean, for some of you guys that are sports fanatics like myself and Don, it goes back to even a person that I have to bring up named Delonte West. Delonte West at one point was a joke to a lot of people because of the LeBron stuff, because of the things that he was doing at the time in the league. And years later, you found out he was going through all these mental warfares that nobody knew. Now you are sensitive to the situation he was going through. But again, this is a person who was at the height of their life. who was going through it and it started to trickle down to the point where they are in life. That's why we're saying it doesn't matter where you are in life. If you avoid opening up about what you're struggling with, or what you're going through, eventually it becomes a full on head. You can be at the top of the world, and trust me, those mental things will come bring you back down. So it's so imperative to address your mental health. And again, I know we hear a lot of people scream that term, it's my mental health, my mental health. There are some people that use it for the wrong reasons, but don't always think that that's a bad thing to say that you're going through it mentally, because you just
Mm-hmm.
never know who can bring you out of a storm. I thank God for every person that's ever came into my life and spoke over it, because at the end of the day, I've had those moments of being depressed, of not being able to talk because I was scared that someone was going to judge. Oh, he's a nice guy. Why is he going through this? He's always positive. Why is he feeling like this? Sometimes that person, that strong person, needs that person that may not be. No, let me take that back. I want to word this thing correctly. Sometimes strong people need a strong person for them too. So always be willing to know that even if you're going through a storm, there's always somebody that can coach you through. You never know who's going to be the person that God's going to send into your life to bless you in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So to answer that question, that's why I answer that question yes and no. And I'll let Don answer that question.
You said a mouthful and then some on that one, my brother. Um, I mean, before you even spoke, I was leaning towards yes, but I did not see the no part until you said what you said, because like you said, it is true. Misery do love company. When you feel bad, you want other people around you to feel bad. You want other people around you to feel the same way that you are, instead of doing what somebody else doing and just live life. Why would you want to live life bottled up? Why would you want to live life struggling? Why would you want to live life keeping up, just talking about, oh, my mental's jacked up? Why don't you do something about it? We have to stop waiting for other people to fix our problems. We have to stop putting our problems on other people. Our problems are not for other people to fix. Our problems are for us to fix. So we have to stop, um, indirectly putting our responsibilities on other people, because that's another thing that suppression does. Suppression, a lot, it causes you to feel like it's somebody else's fault that you're down. Oh, well, my mom did this to me, or my dad did this to me, or he did this to me when I was young. So that's no, 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 no. That is dead and gone. That's over with. So I don't understand why you're still suppressing, why you won't speak out. And if you're tired of living that way, if you're hurt, say something. Say something. God has put people around us that are able to, like I said earlier, that are able to listen to us and not look down on us. And that leads into why I feel like what Miss Walona said. Well, Walona, I hope I'm saying that right. Uh, you know, I hope I'm saying that right. But yo, it's true. I feel like some
It's Miss
people.
Willette.
Miss Willette, I'm sorry, Miss Willette. I got you. Okay, I do feel like for some people, I think it's hard for them to open up because they're afraid to look it down on others, and that's what fear does. Fear cripples you. Fear is one of those things that will forever keep you shackled. It will forever keep you chained. It will stop you from living life. And I live, and this is one of my favorite scriptures, and I live by this. For God have not given us a spirit of fear, but a power of love, a power and love, and a sound mind. You have to be wise and realizing when you're living in fear, because if you're living in the fear of people looking down on you, you're not living. You're living to somebody else's means. If you're fearful, if you're scared of people looking down on you, you're all of a sudden trying to live life how they want you to live life. You have put the power of your life in somebody else's hands out of fear. And that's what suppression does. I've been there in my life before. I was afraid of speaking up because I didn't want people to look down on me. I didn't want people to call me a punk. I didn't want people to call me weak. But I had to realize that me suppressing, that was me being a punk. That was me being weak because I'm out here being prideful and being fearful and not speaking out, that I didn't even know that I was crippling my own will to live. And I'm wondering why I'm so bottled up. I'm so dragged down. One thing about suppression, it will weight you down. It will weight you down. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be weighted down. I got too much weight on me as it is that I'm in a process of losing physically. But you don't want to be carrying unnecessary weight. And that's what suppression does. That's what it does when you don't speak out. You will find yourself, carrying unnecessary weight. That's what the enemy wants to do, because he realized that you're on a path to success. You're on a path to be the best you that you can be. And what he wants to do is he want to put certain things in your mind to be like, see, you ain't got it all together. See, they don't love you. See, you thought you had it all. And you have to tell him back, yes, I do have it all. Yes, I am going to be successful. Yes, I am loved. Yes, I do have people around me that cares about me. We have to learn how to speak back to the enemy. As my mom says, you got to put the word on it. When the enemy comes to you with something, when he tries when he tries to present you with something, a lie, because that's what he does. He lies. He shows you illusion. He shows you things that's not true to slow you down. He know he can't stop you. He can just do stuff to slow you down. Like yesterday, me and Nate had a whole conversation. Nate said, "Hey man, I got a whole migraine. I was good all week long until yesterday. I had a whole migraine. Why you think that was? Because he wanted to delay what was going to happen. He didn't want this to happen. He don't want this to happen. But at the end of the day, you have to realize that you have the power to dictate what your life gonna be. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. That's why we have to be so careful what comes out of our mouth. Your mouth has the ability to be able to create or destroy. And you have to be careful and be wise of what you speak. Even when you're going through something, even when you feel like suppressing, you have to speak out. You have to speak out. And so, to answer your question, Miss Willette, yeah, I do feel like it's hard for people to open up because they don't want to be looked down. And we have to break the shame. We have to break, embarrassment. When you open up, it may feel like embarrassment for a second, but I tell you, I guarantee you 100%, when you start telling people how you truly feel, you will feel so much lighter. I promise you will feel so much lighter. And so, yeah, I would say that to answer your question, I do feel like it's hard for people to open up because they don't want to be looked down. And I also agree with what Nate said as well.
Yes, sir. That's some great points that you hit on. I'm going to add another one of her comments that she put. I think by not opening up or talking, you lose out on who can be there for you. You have to trust God enough to know that someone loves you and cares, but you'll never know if you don't talk. Amen to that. That is so accurate.
Agreed.
That is so accurate, because the one thing that I can truly say is by me being as authentic, by Don being as authentic, it has given us the opportunity to not only connect with each other on a stronger level from a brotherhood standpoint, that also gives people in your life an opportunity to really be there, be supportive to your journey. One thing that I think a lot of people have to stop worrying about is stop worrying about things being the perfect angle to success. You're gonna go through adversity. You're gonna go through some hardships where someone's gonna have to really be there for you. You're gonna talk through that thing, because one thing that this world loves, everyone loves a story of triumph. Why can't you be that story of triumph? Why can't you make yourself that next level person that went through, came from the bottom and came all the way up? Why can't you believe in yourself enough to do that? So by not talking, by not saying, I need help, I need this, I need that, you're cheating yourself out, because you're already saying, well, it's not going to work because A, B, C, D, and E. Have you given yourself the true opportunity to allow someone to be there for you? And if you do have some people in your life that is going to be there for you, walk you through any journey in life, you have to be willing to let them. Because there are some people that do have the support system in their life, but they will sit there and still look for a reason not to progress. And life sometimes have to show them rather than they can be told. God brings people into your life to walk you through certain journeys so you don't have to go through defeat, having to go through the adversity alone, or having to go through a moment which is going to kick you down and make you have to start back at square one. A lot of people that get kicked have to go to square one. Sometimes they didn't listen. Sometimes they didn't take heed to the great things that is brought upon their life. You never know who's giving you the tools to keep pushing in life. But by continuing to keep it to yourself, like, I'm good, I was down yesterday, but I'm better today. Guess what? You're going to go back to being down. Why? Because you didn't talk to anyone.
Yep.
Why? Because you kept trying to say, I'm good. But guess what? Most people, when they say, like, I'm good, man, I'm straight, or anything like that, they're going through it. Because guess what? They're telling you they're good. But guess what's going on in here?
Mm-hmm.
All kind of negative thoughts, all kind of negative mindset. You can't do this. You don't have this. You won't have that. Stop allowing this up here to win that battle. Because guess what? As much positive that is spoken upon your life, it starts to defeat that anxiety. Because the biggest thing is this: you can also be told all the great advice in the world, but it comes down to you. If you don't believe in you, how do you expect the world to believe in you? How do you expect the world to give you the knowledge that is so necessary to become a better person in life? Because one thing that I can say, growing up, when we were, like John said, we were in school, it was always, you got to be tough. You got to be this. Oh, no, you can't talk to me crazy like this. I'm going to have to show you better than I. No, you don't have to show nobody better than nothing. You don't have to do that. At the end of the day, you're going to be tested in life to see, can you push through anything that comes your direction? Who are you proving it to? What by going out here, putting on a show in front of the world, what is that going to do for you? You think that that's going to be okay for you to be that person that don't take any mess? Guess what? They laughing at you, but they're laughing with you too. No, they're laughing with you, but they're laughing at you too. Because the first thing they're saying is, oh man, that person, I'm gonna go there in our generation. I'm gonna touch in our generation a little bit. You know what? I hear a lot of people that say, man, this person real, man. This person got no filter. Guess what that means? You don't have a filter, they don't want to deal with you. Because guess what? You have so much of a lack of a filter or a lack of maturity that you're showing, that when you do go through something, man, you put it on yourself. If you ain't act like this, you wouldn't go through this. Guess what? That will make you get judged. That will make you not progress. So you also have to give yourself the opportunity to grow. And I know a lot of you that are tuned in on any social media platform right now have seen this come across you. If you're not teachable, you can't progress. Guess what? If you don't talk, you're not teachable.
Amen.
If you don't say I'm going through it, you're not teachable. You're eliminating your own self from making progression. Why? Because you're saying, man, I'm going to go through this on my own, man. I got this. I don't need to talk to nobody about this. Guess what? You just eliminated your opportunity of being teachable. You think God brought this into your life? You hear the cliche statement of what God brings you to, he brings you through. So are you going to shut out all those opportunities coming into your life to progress? Or are you going to sit here and try to figure it out for yourself and say, well, I did this by myself. I got here by myself. That's the biggest lie you ever tell yourself. Don't do that. Because there's a reason that we hitting on this topic right here. You got to speak out against that enemy. You got to speak out and say, man, I know I went through this today, but I'm about to come out. I'm about to be a stronger and wiser man or woman tomorrow. Because that's what it's about. It is about progression. And that's what Let did say. Not only will you lose out on people that can be there for you, people will be quick not to want to be there for you. Because guess what happens, like me and Don was talking about, you also put yourself out there to be judged. Because guess what? Let's say a person came up to myself and Don and we wanted to encourage them, and you decided to ignore everything that's been said. Most people are going to say, don't touch that person. They don't want to learn. They're not going to get it. They're going to listen, but it's going to go in one ear and out the other. Don't be that person. And that's what I got to say on that topic. I'm going to turn it back over to Don.
And I like Miss Willette said, and of course I agree with everything that you said 100%. One thing about the end of the day, and even me and my wife, we talked about this, yesterday. I said one of the things that make God so loving is that he already knows what's going on with you, but he still desires relationship. He still desires to hear what's going on with you. He already knows what's going on with you. He already knows that you're going through in your family. He already knows that you're going through with your job. He already knows that you're going through in life, but he still wants you to come to him and talk to him. Because one thing about it at the end of the day, he already knows that when you come and talk to him, you're relinquishing your control over that thing. And that's one of the reasons why it's hard for us to talk to people, because we're trying to be in control. We're trying to be so in control that we become prideful. Oh, I don't want anybody else to touch this. This is my battle. This is why I got to go. No, you have people out here that cares about you and that loves you enough for you to talk to them. But like Miss Willette said, you will never know if you don't talk. You never know. You will never know what love is if you don't open yourself up to love. You will never know what peace is if you don't open yourself up to what peace is. How do you know how something feels if you never felt it before? Everybody in here wants to feel like they had $1 million, but you will never know how it feels to have $1 million until you had $1 million. You want something, but you're not willing to put in the work to get it. Things just don't come to you just out of thin air. You have to work for it. You want to stop suppression? Stop suppressing. It's that simple. You don't have to go through these. You don't have to jump through any hoops, jump through any fire hoops, do backflips or whatever. Just stop suppressing. Talk. Just talk. One of the biggest things, I don't care if you're married, single, in dating, courting, whatever. One of the biggest relationship breakers, and I feel like it's the biggest relationship breaker, is lack of communication. How I'm gonna be able to know about you if you do not communicate? Unless we're communicating, you don't know anything about me. I don't know anything about you. Unless, except for what I see. I don't want to go by just what I see. I want to go by what's going on in here. See, we allow the enemy to play with this. If he play, if and it's so true what people say. The mind is the devil's playground. You know how you done been to a playground. You see kids out there, they're on the swing, they're on the seesaw, they're going down the slide or whatever. That's what the enemy is doing when you suppress. When you suppress those thoughts, when you suppress everything that's going around you, he just sitting there in that playground. He's getting on the swing, he's getting on the seesaw, he's getting on the merry-go-round, and he's in there without curfew. We all know about curfew. When the street lights came on, when we was young, we was in the house. But we're allowing the enemy to just have free reign in our minds when we suppress, when we say, oh, I need to go away for a few months. Oh, I need to go away for a year. Oh, I can't talk about this. We have to be not afraid to just open up and expose ourselves. That's the only way you're going to get free. That's the only way you're going to make it in life, is that you expose yourself. You can't allow people to be led by what they see. You have people out there that cares about you. They want to know what's on your mind. But whose fault is it if people don't know what's on our minds? It's our fault, because we're not talking. We're not communicating. We're not sharing dialogues back and forth. You never know. Somebody might out there may be going through the same thing that you're going through. But how are you going to bring them out if you don't talk? You're holding their blessing up. You're holding their breakthrough up. You're holding their healing up because you're afraid to speak out. You can be, and I've said this many times, people may look at you and they see the closest thing to Jesus that they will ever see physically. You are the Jesus to somebody. I'm not saying go out here and be Jesus. We supposed to be Christ-like, but don't think you're Jesus. Don't think that. All I'm saying is the righteousness and the goodness that people talk about Jesus, they see that on you. But you're too afraid to speak out. You're too afraid to expose yourself that you're holding somebody else's blessing up. If you went through drug addiction, if you went through molestation, if you went through almost committing suicide, and you see somebody else out here struggling with the same thing you did, why not? Why not say something? Oh, they by themselves. Oh, they got that. We are living in a world that is selfish. We are living in a world that don't care about anybody else but themselves. And it's sad because somewhere down the line, somebody had to help us. Somebody had to help us get through. Somebody had to tell us, speak out. Somebody had to tell us, oh, you can make it. So why we can't say that to anybody else? Because we think that we've arrived. We got everything together. Oh, we got it all together. I got this. No. Until that fateful day that you go and meet Jesus, you're still striving for perfection. You're not perfect. You have not arrived yet. We still going through things. I'm still going through things. I'm pretty sure Nate's still going through things. We will forever be in this growing process called life until we go and meet Jesus. So, and this the thing, like, if we can talk to God about certain things, why we can't talk to nobody else? You don't think that person can't help you? You don't think that person can give a few pointers, share some free advice? And Nate said it. Me and Nate knows, we know certain people that we've gave advice to, and they went out there and did what they wanted to do. That's not our fault. That's on them. We didn't tell them to go out there and do that. They chose to do that. But you're going to have some people like that you can counsel all day long. You can tell them what to do, what not to do, and they still going to go out there and do what they want to do. And the thing about it is, you can be out here, you could be the most righteous person in the world. People are still going to judge you. So if you're speaking out and people are still going to judge you, they still going to have that same perception about you, why are you suppressing? Why are you worried about what people are going to think? It doesn't matter what people think. It's all about what you think about yourself. And so you have to get rid of that perception that, I can't tell about what I'm going through because I don't want people to look down on me. I don't care what people say. I don't care what they think. As long as I love me and I know that God loves me at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what people say. So we have to get rid of that perception that, hey, I'm not going to tell them about how I'm feeling because I don't want people to look down on me. We got to get rid of that. And I'm just leave it right there.
I love everything that you said there. That was such great knowledge that you gave. And I also want to get another compliment, Miss Lex. The way God knows everything we're going through in life, we can't allow what's going on around us to get inside of us because it will weigh you down. We go through storms, but we're never alone in them. God is always there. Absolutely. And another thing, and I love that you brought that topic up because there's another thing that I really want to touch on, and I know Don gonna preach when he get a chance to about this one. Let me get this out the way. Don't speak about, God's in your corner, God's this, God that, God that. When you're in that adversity and you're questioning, you're gonna question. If you're gonna question certain things, then why give your faith into it? Because let me put it to you like this: as this comment just said, you will go through storms. You will have to figure out certain things. Sometimes you have to humanly figure this thing out, but always got to keep staying prayed up. Always got to keep pushing and don't keep yourself stagnant. Because if you know that there's an obstacle in front of you, the best option in life is to go tackle it head on. By continuing to sit here and I'm going through a lot. What you going through? I'm dealing with this. What are you dealing with? Do not keep saying I'm going through a lot. I'm dealing with this. Nobody understands me. Are you giving people the opportunity to understand you? Because if you're not, then just leave it alone. Don't sit here and don't sit here and cry out for help and don't receive the help, because there's a difference. There are people that's going back to the comment earlier that are crying for help, and then there's some who looks for attention. Don't be that individual, because if you're going through a storm, God has a way of bringing things around you to help you get through anything in life. And that's one thing about, as Don mentioned, about speaking out. When you speak out, you heal this part right here, your heart. That's what you're working on healing. At the end of the day, you let the world subject what they're gonna say about you. Because let me tell you one thing that we've learned in this world of social media. People look for something negative to say about you. So don't worry about what the masses is gonna say. There's gonna always be a person that's gonna hold against you what happened back in 2010. Does that stop your progression in 2022? It doesn't. But don't allow what that one person who has an issue with you defeat what 50 positive comments was said about you. Stop focusing on that one person that has an issue with you, because guess what? That person that may have an issue with them might see something great in you that they wish they had in themselves. You never know where a person's feelings are coming from. You never know where things could be generated from. But don't allow that misery to bring you down, because guess what? You're meant to go to the next level in life. So you're going to go through these storms. You're going to be challenged, because every person is going in the level of being on the spiritual level. Every person has an interest date and an end state on this earth. So you have to make the best of the time that you're on this earth. However, you all have an opportunity to accomplish something great while you're here. So you have to discover what you're going to accomplish great. And by going through the different things, having to go through, because guess what? Everyone's hit a stage of depression before, has been down before, has needed that advice before and encouragement to come out of a storm. But at the end of the day, guess what that number one thing that I want to see from everyone in this world? I don't want to hear what you're currently stuck in. I wanted that to be your testimony. That testimony wants to be strong at the end of the day. When you hear people go up in the church and talk about 5 years ago, I was coming over a drug addiction. 5 years ago, I was going through a storm, and look at where I'm at now. That's their testimony. They put the work in to get over that storm. Everyone has a testimony that they're building in life. It's not about impressing the world. That's your testimony. If you have something you set to be great in, I want you to work through that thing. But by continuing to stay stuck in the storm, what are you progressing in? And if it's people around you that is content with the storm, remove yourself away from them, because you don't want their storm to become your storm. And it can happen that way by not disassociating yourself with some of that. Because trust me, you're going to be tested on both levels. You're going to have some people where God's going to show you these people are one thing that I have to say this. One thing why myself and Duncan appreciate the journey we've been on is because we know there's been moments where we were both down and out. We've seen the progression in the both of us. That's what builds the strongest people, the strongest relationships, the strongest marriages, the strongest brother and sisterhoods. Because if you go through something together and you're overcoming it together, that makes you stronger. The people that are cool with staying stuck in neutral, stuck in depression, stuck in this negative mentality, they're not going to grow with you. You separate eventually. You hear the term separation before elevation. That's where that comes from. Because when you're stuck in that negativity and that person is trying to progress, if it's you stuck, they're going to fly. If it's them stuck, you're going to fly. You will no longer be able to have that energy in your life. So you have to make it your business not to suppress what you're going through. I don't care if you feel like it's the most embarrassing thing in the world. I would rather you speak out and say, I'm struggling with this and I need someone to help me through this, than sit here and I find you on the news 5 years down the road, have taken yourself away from here because you let that defeat you. You have to start now. And anyone that's watching the stream, if you're struggling with the term of suppression, today is the day to stop allowing yourself to be in it, because you're only delaying your breakthrough. You're delaying the great days that's going to come ahead of you, because you're stuck in, well, I went through, I didn't have this, I can't do this. Stop speaking that over your life, because as Don said earlier, what you speak over your life can sometimes become your reality. So be careful what you speak over your life, because if you're saying, I will never be rich, I will never have this career, I will never have this, you also are stopping yourself from taking the progression that need to be taken. If you are the type of individual that do speak those things, but you're not putting the groundwork in to get there, that's also just as bad as speaking negative in your life. You got to be willing to sit down and be fully authentic when you're going through a storm, and to come through it and say, this is, all right, I'm at square one. I'm giving myself to the world. I'm giving myself to the right people that's in my life. This is where I'm going to go from. That was my low point. This is where I'm going to go to. So again, don't let yourself be swallowed upon in this storm and eliminate yourself from this world, because you're too great, if you're watching this stream, to let yourself go through that. And I'm going to turn it over to Don on that note.
Man, that was a great comment, man. That was a great comment. Because many times we get into a point to where we do allow our surroundings to define who we are. And one thing about it is, in a certain part, in the scripture, Peter himself walked on water. He did unthinkable. He walked on water. But the thing that caused him to sink was he started to take his mind off of where he was going, and he started looking around at the winds blowing and the sea is raging and the storm that was going through. He began to sink. And one thing about it is, you could be on the path, you got your focus, you're locked in, but you allow your surroundings, you allow this little turbulence that's going on to prevent you from getting to the place where you was going, and you cause your own self to delay. One thing about being in a house when it's stormy, as long as the windows close, as long as the doors close, can't no rain get in, can't no wind get in. But as soon as you open that door, here come the storm. And sometimes we get into a position where we allow outside forces to do inside jobs on us. We have to stop that. Your surroundings don't define who you are. You define who you are. We have to stop allowing outside interferences come in and cause us to suppress. And now we weighted down, and we're wondering why we so weighted down. You could be triple at the beginning of the year. And I've gotten to a point to where I stopped making New Year resolutions, because you set yourself up, if you're not going to meet those resolutions, and you already set in your mind that you're not even going to meet those expectations. Stop saying expectations. They say, just say, I'm going to do the best I can today. That's all you can do. And sometimes we set these expectations on ourselves. Oh, I'm going to go hard for my business. Oh, I'm going to go hard with losing weight. Oh, I'm going to go hard in my marriage. And we're waiting for everything else to do what we're supposed to be doing. And when it don't work out, we want to blame everybody. We want to blame our spouse. We want to blame friends. We want to blame our family. We want to blame God. And everybody's like, what did we do? We didn't do anything. You said you was going to do this, and you didn't follow with it. Whatever expectation you're going to set for yourself, you got to make sure that you follow with it. Because sometimes we set our own selves up for failure. If you already know on the inside of your mind that it's not going to work, then you might as well not do it. Why would you go out here and waste time and energy on something that you only believe in? And there's one thing about a business. You go out here advertising something that you only believe in. How do you expect people to believe in what you're selling if you don't believe in it? If you don't believe that, hey, this product is going to help you lose weight, and you only believe in it, then why should I buy anything? Why should I buy something from you? And then you get mad at me because I don't buy anything. Well, you don't believe in it. So why should I believe in it? So whatever you're going to sell, make sure you believe in it. And one thing that's going to make people see that you believe in it is that if you're actively doing the work. And that's one thing that suppression does. Suppression eliminates work. It eliminates the effort. it says, okay, this ain't working, so I'm just gonna give up. Okay, this ain't working, so I'm just gonna throw away everything that I started. I'm just gonna throw it all away. No, don't do that. Just because something did not work doesn't mean that's the end all be all. Try again. Try again. If you feel like you're striving to achieve something and it didn't work that time, try again and believe in it and put your all in it. Because as long as you don't put your all in, you're going to forever be weighted down. And that's what suppression does. Suppression weights you down. It has you in quicksand. You could be running all day long, but you still gonna be quicksand because you're sinking. You're sinking in suppression. You're sinking in depression. You're sinking in doubt. You're sinking in resentment. You're sinking in hurt. And when do you go? And then we have to get to a point to where when are we going to stop setting ourselves up for failure? Ain't you tired of being weighted down? Are you tired of really being hurt? Are you tired of really carrying this stuff for years after years? I'm still trying to understand this, and I think I will never understand it. Some of us go year after year after year carrying the same stuff that happened in our childhood. You have to let that go. We're sorry that happened. We're sorry that they did that to you. We sympathize with everybody that's went through in their childhood. But you know what? They don't have to be your story. Yes, my mom was molested, and that's how I was conceived. But I had to get to a point to where I'm like, I'm not feeling allowed to define who I am, because what he did does not define me. I define who I am. So I have promises. I have greatness on me. I have greatness living on inside me. I have things that I want to do, not only for myself, but for my family and on my job and everything that God has allowed for me to possess. I'm not going to allow what happened in my childhood to just all of a sudden have me so hurt that I don't want to move. No, what happened, happened. Let it go. How long are you going to keep holding that stuff in? If you're tired of living that way, tell them. If somebody did you wrong, tell them. Tell them that they did you wrong and have a conversation about it. The Bible says if you have an out with your brother, talk to them. Figure it out. You can't assume that, oh, they see you going around looking good and you just assume, well, I'm gonna just wait for an apology. You have to, and I read this one day. It says you have to be able to accept an apology that you will never get. Yeah, that person did you wrong. And while you sitting there waiting for an apology, they still living their life. But you stuck waiting for an apology. You have to forgive them and keep it moving. Yes, they did you wrong. And I'm sorry that I'm not sounding so sympathetic, because I'm just so sick and tired of people just, waiting on stuff that's not going to happen. So what if you waiting for an apology? If they don't give you an apology, what you going to do? Just sit there and just waste away your life, waste away the thing that God has given you, waste away your potential, waste away your success just because you waiting for an apology? It's been 5 years and that person still not have apologized to you. So you're going to wait another 5 years? You're going to wait another 10 years? You're going to wait another 20 years? While you watch your life and your time go away? You have to be able to forgive and move on, or else you're not going to be able to live the life that you desire. You will never be able to live in healing unless you accept it. We have to stop wasting our time with things and people that's not relevant. So what they did you wrong? You still have an opportunity right now to speak out, to stop suppressing that hurt. Why would you want to live your life weighted down? Imagine toting a bag that's too heavy for you. Imagine going through life toting something that's too heavy. You're going to get weighted down. You're going to get weighted down. You are going to get weighted down. And all of a sudden, you're going to get into a point in your life where you're like, you know what? I'm tired of carrying this bag. I'm tired of carrying this hurt. I'm tired of carrying this resentment. I'm tired of carrying the fact that I got cheated on. I'm tired. I'm tired of carrying this bad that stops me from believing. I'm sick of carrying this bad that's gonna have me living a prideful life. You have to drop the bad. Just drop the bad. Let it go. You ain't got no big. You don't have to carry that bad no more. And if you feel like today, if you feel like that today, if you feel like you still have to hold on to the hurt, I'm here to tell you on today that you don't. That's not your only option. You do have a choice to drop that bad. You have breath on your body. You have breath in your body right now, which means that God still has a purpose for you on this earth. Just as Nate says, and he tells me this every single morning, he sends those messages, and I appreciate everything that he sends to me. There's greatness on the inside of you. You're too great to watch your purpose, your destiny, your calling just fall by the wayside just because somebody did you wrong. You have to be able to accept an apology that you'll never get. You have to be able to accept that and keep it moving. Now, does that mean you just go around, just let everybody treat you in a type of way? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that whatever is slowing you down, whatever is causing you to suppress and prevent you from speaking out, you have to get to the root of that, and you have to really do some soul searching so that you can live life to the fullest. I'm just gonna leave it right there.
Woo, you spoke. You hit some great, man. You hit some great, man. You hit some great points. You hit some great points. And I want you to know this right here. I have to say this right here. Everything that you just said, that was not in any way, shape, form, or fashion wrong of how you put that. Because a lot of people do stay stuck in their childhood trauma, and it affects them from being better as adults. It affects them from really progressing in life. And as you said, that journey that they went through was not meant for you to be stuck in that journey. Because at the end of the day, you also don't know how your storm could turn around and be a benefit to you in the future. Not saying that there's a bad thing not saying that it was a good thing you went through what you went through. However, you gain knowledge through that storm. You gain maturity through that adversity. And for those individuals who is allowing their childhood to control where they are in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s, you have to stop allowing that, because it comes to a point where the mistakes that you make in life, that can't be your reason that you keep going back to. And there's a lot of people that have the mentality of it's just such and such. This is how they are. Well, change that about yourself. Don't allow that to be the reason that you can't do something or that you don't do something. Because again, you went through something that every person's not meant to go through. Let me put it to you like this. Your testimony, your journey, your adversity is separate from every single person on earth. You might have similarities, but they have not went through the exact storm that you went through in life. It's a lot of us on these streams with men and women who has had to deal with sometimes parents not being inconsistent, this person not being inconsistent in your life. And as Don spoke to you about the situation that he went through in his childhood, one of the things that was a struggle for me and one of my parents didn't have the best relationship going forward when we were young, when I was younger. And for a while, I looked to blame others for why that didn't work out for me. But as I got older, things things have a way of coming full circle. Once you come to a point you're at peace with what went on in your childhood, because that was me at one point in time. I used to always say, well, this person wasn't here for me, that person wasn't here for me, and this is why I'm like this, and that's why I'm like this. I had to make the best of that situation. God revealed things to me. Me and Don have both went through the situation of going to post-secondary schools. Through and going to post-secondary, which aka college or whatever, for anyone that's trying to figure out what it is. I gained having a mentor who changed my life forever, who made me the man that I am now. And what I mean by that is the positive things that was I speak into some of my fellow brothers now was spoken to me. And at first I was like, I don't understand. Why do you see greatness in me and I don't see it in myself? But it was that person kicking that engine on to take me to build me to where I got to later on in life. And that's what life is about. Sometimes that person is supposed to be a part of your life to show you you're better than this. You're greater than this. You have the potential to be legendary at this. And once they show that to you, you take the ground running. You're like a person that's at the start of a race. Sometimes you're gonna have that finish line that you have to reach. But take the necessary steps to get to that finish line. Don't beat yourself up before you get there. And again, there are some people who lose the race before they even start because they're talking about why they can't make it. Stop telling yourself that. Stop believing that because guess what? What you believe is how you're going to go at something in life. If you don't think it's going to work, you're going to give a 10% effort. Go for 100%, as Don mentioned earlier. Don't say I'm going to go all in to lose this weight, to create this business, to go to this new opportunity at work, to get this new career, to get this, and get that in life, and you don't fully believe in it yourself. How can a person get on board with what you're doing in life if you're suppressing it? How can a person get on board? How can all of you that tune into this stream believe in what myself and Don speak to you on a show-to-show basis if we don't believe that when we coming onto this show that we're going to say something to change your life? That's what it comes down to in life. If you don't believe in it, how can I get behind it? You like your own team. You have to how do you become successful? You grind to be great. You grind to be a winner. You grind to be a champion. People will come if they see you commit to your excellence in your life. Opportunities will open up if you commit to your excellence. You want to know what's also committing to your excellence? Being willing to say, I'm not in the best space right this second. This is what's wrong with me. And this is how I want to go by getting better. Allowing a person to show you, this is how I'm going to get better. But by continuing to say, well, I'm sorry that I'm acting this way, but this is why I'm acting this way because don't nobody understand this and this and this and this and this. Once you start hearing that broken record over and over and over again, you don't want that around you. That person don't want that around them. And they're going to let you struggle until you hit rock bottom to see this is not the way for me. So as Don said earlier, any trauma that goes on in life is a opportunity for you to build from it. Because guess what? If you're not 6 feet under, you have another opportunity to be great. The question is, what do you do to come out of that journey? How will you go by speaking into your life? If you said, I want to become a music artist, I'm going to have me a #1 hit. Guess what? You're speaking it now. Put the effort behind it. If you said you're going to write you a book and it's going to be a New York Times bestseller, you need to put the energy behind that book. Because guess what? When your energy is put into something, that is where the blessings come. That's where the breakthroughs come. That's where the progression of yourself come. We're not even just talking about from a physical thing, mentally, spiritually. You are going to be able to tap into every great thing that you pursue in life because when those things are together, everything around you comes together. But you got to be willing to say, I need this help. I need to get better. I need to make this. And there's so many people that hasn't done it yet. They're they want you to believe this facade about them. And one of the things is, I know she still watches the stream. Miss Willette has told me off this stream so many times. One thing about life, you can only wear a mask for so long. That mask is going to eventually come off. You're going to eventually be exposed. That real ugly truth is going to show up. Are you going to be happy when it comes there? Because guess what? If you're putting together that fake if you make it mentality, as Don mentioned earlier, Guess what? Once the real you come out, the ones who got behind the fake mentality is gonna exit. So why go out here and be less authentic in life? Be you. Be great, man. Be great, queen. Be great, king. Go out there and be great. Stop limiting yourself because of what you think is the right way to go by life. You're hurting yourself by doing that. That's what the purpose of this show is about. We've seen people eliminate suppression and no longer be able to speak about it anymore. Don't be that person. Your life is precious. Make the best of it. If you're going through it and you know somebody that you can talk to, you pick that phone up and you call them. You pick the phone up and say, I'm hurting, I'm struggling. Because guess what? That could be the moment that changed your life for the better. But by sitting there being stuck in it, you're never going to get past that storm. When they see you, they're going to say, oh, here they are with that negative energy. They're miserable again. They're desperate to want somebody to be negative. Trust me when I tell you, that's how you get judged. Not by what you go through, it's by how you respond to what you go through. And I'm going to turn that note back over to Don.
And you just end on a high note, man, because we have to learn when we going through storms and even in our minds, we have to learn how to respond and not react. When we react, we're being led by emotions. But when we respond, we're being led by wisdom. And we have to be wise. We have to be wise in everything that we do, everything that we say, everything that we think. Because one thing about it, just like in boxing, if I get to the head, I can get the body. Cause if I get to the head, that's your base of operations per se. That's where all the planning comes together. That's where the execution becomes. Because if I can stop you in your mind, I got you. You ain't gonna be able to do anything. And so on today, I just want to say that to everybody that's on this stream, man, today is your day to be paroled from suppression. I know some of you have been dealing with suppression for a long time. Some of you may not be dealing with suppression, but I want to speak to the ones that's dealing with suppression on today. You don't have a reason to suppress. There's greatness on the inside of you. You have a calling that you have to fulfill. You have a purpose on this earth. And one thing about purpose, the only way that purpose is going to be born is going to be birthed is through pressure. That baby can't come out the womb unless what? Some pressure is applied to be pushed out. And some of you on today, you've allowed life, you've allowed people, you've allowed even the things that's going on around you to cause you to be incarcerated by suppression, to be incarcerated by pride, to be incarcerated by fear, to be incarcerated by doubt, by uncertainty, by maybe the fear of the unknown. Maybe you don't know what will happen. Some of you all make wrong perceptions about speaking. Oh, if I speak out, what's going to happen? Freedom is going to happen. Joy is going to happen. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's got to be a continuous daily process of speaking out and making up in your mind, I'm not going to suppress. I'm not going to be succumbed by the things that's going on in my mind. I'm not going to be succumbed to the things that's going on around me. But I'm going to be real. And that's one thing about speaking out. Once you realize and you get to the point that, hey, I don't care what people think about me. I don't care what people say about me. I'm going to be me. And what you may have thought about me today, yesterday, 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, 2 years ago, it don't matter because I'm not there anymore. That's not me anymore. And you will still have those people that's going to bring us stuff that you did yesterday. Remember when you did this? Remember when you did that? Remember when you started business and you always going to have naysayers. But whenever you have naysayers, that means that you're on the right track. If you don't have haters around you, you're not doing nothing. You're not doing anything. Whenever people start hating on you and judging you and stuff, that means that you're on your A game. You're doing something right. So don't be concerned about the naysayers. Don't be concerned about what people got to say, what people gonna think about you. It's in their thoughts. How you gonna make assumptions of what people think about you? You can't read their mind. You don't know what they think about you. They could be saying, "Oh, that person's great. That person got it all together. That person's on top of what they need to be doing." You don't know what people thinking about you. But we have to eliminate the negativity that goes on in our mind at times, because we allow negativity to stop us from getting so much stuff in this life, to achieving what we want in this life. So as we talked about today, you have the opportunity while you're still on this earth to eliminate suppression. Yeah, what happened in your childhood, it hurt. It was devastating. It affected you so much that you may feel like you can't trust anybody. But those times is over with. Those times are over. God has put people around you that you can trust. You can talk to. You can talk to Nate. You can talk to me. You can talk to anybody who you discern that has your best interest in heart. Talk to them. And I guarantee you'll feel so much better. And start speaking out. Because like Nate said, this world is waiting to say something negative about people. I remember when that thing went down with Kurt Franklin before before he got into the drum that he got into. Everybody was singing his songs, Stomp, all this stuff. Everybody know the song GP, Are You With Me? All this stuff. But as soon as they found out that he was cussing with his son, oh, look at it, he ain't no man of God. Look at, but y'all was just dancing his songs. Y'all was just on his side. We have to realize that even the most esteemed people are human. They're still human. And we have to stop putting people on pedestals. That's one reason why we suppress, because we've had this perception about people, and when they show us something else, oh, I ain't gonna say no. No. You made that choice to put them on a pedestal. They're still humans. Kurt Franklin's still a human being. Yeah, he's a man of God, but he's still a human being. And the choice he made, that's his choice. It don't have to be you. And so we have to just stop putting wrong perceptions on people. And just we got to stop suppressing as black people. We have to stop suppressing. We have to stop going by what our grandmothers and our great grandmothers. We have to stop doing that, because the world is hurting enough. The world is hurting enough. And we have to start speaking out. Tell people what's going on with you. Don't be so afraid and so prideful that you don't even want to open up. Open up, expose yourselves. Exposing yourself is a step towards greatness, because you will never know what you can do unless you open up. You'll never know. You'll never know what you can accomplish unless you open up. So that's all I had to add. I'm just turning over to Nate at this time, reading the comments or so forth.
Okay, we got one last comment. Really, I want to end on your note, because to be honest, you hit a strong point. But the last comment we have is, there's greatness in us all, but if you don't think you're great, no one else will either. That is so true.
So true. So true.
That is so true. And Don, do you have anything that you want to say to wrap this one up? Because like I said, you hit great there.
I just want to say I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We made up our minds on this year that we was going to put out consistent content. We know that we did not do a good job of that last year. Certain things stopped us from giving y'all the content that you all need and want and so forth. And then on this year, we just said we just gonna go forward. Just gonna go forward. And I've enjoyed every single show. I love you all. I love the feedback that you give. I just love y'all. And some of y'all met, some of y'all have not met. But I just want to say I love y'all. Because for you to take time on a Sunday after having some good old time Holy Ghost filled church, some of you all, and to still come on in here and jump on live with us, that's to be commended. That's to be heavily commended. And it makes me both me and Nate so proud for y'all to join in and give feedback or whatever. And I pray that each and every person that watched today got what you need. Thank you, Miss Willette. I promise you, I'm gonna get your name right the next time around. I'm gonna get your name right the next time. But appreciate that. Thank you. And that's the purpose. We're gonna keep doing great. We're gonna keep coming up with new ideas and fresh topics to keep bringing to you guys because we feel like we have vast knowledge to teach and to be able to distribute to you all. And one thing about us, we are unscripted. There is not one notebook in front of me. This is coming straight from the dome. This is coming from straight experience, and I want that to be the basis of our show. Is to show you realness, to show you transparency, is to show you authenticity because that's something that's needed in this day and age. People are tired of seeing the fakeness. They're tired of seeing, mirages. They're tired of seeing illusions. They want realness. They want realness. So in order for us to reach the people, we got to be real. And that's one thing me and Nate we bring on a show, on each show. We bring realness. We bring experience. We may be young physically, but mentally, spiritually, we're much older. And we went through things in life that are is able to help people. And so if you did not hear anything else on today, today is your day that you've been paroled from everything that's tried to hold you back from living life to the fullest. You do not have to suppress. You do not have to suppress anymore. You are free to speak out. So that's all I want to add on today. I love each and every one of you. And yeah, just gonna turn it back over to Nate.
I love what you said, and yes, I definitely appreciate that comment, Miss Weather. I do appreciate you definitely tuning in. And like myself, and like Don just said, this is totally unscripted. You guys make the show. That's the one biggest thing. We know the topic we're going to discuss, but again, some of the great things that you give us while we're on air, it helps even bring more out of this show, out of us. You guys are making us better by the questions, by the comments, by all those things, because this is this is a show that we're getting being blessed to instill some great knowledge into you all, but you all are bringing it back to us to go out here and be even better. You're giving us an opportunity to take a totally unscripted show and go out here and run an hour and a half to two at times where we can talk about different topics, and that is so appreciated. We appreciate the ones that wasn't able to tune in, that's going to go back and watch this stream later on, that's going to tune in, because we always tend to have people go back and say, you guys had a great show. I didn't see it live, but I did go back and watch it. So for you that's going to watch it later on, we appreciate you that's going to tune into it later on, because at the end of the day, that's the purpose of doing this show. That's the purpose of coming with these great topics, of being so authentic, is because you get a chance to see us in this element. You get a chance to get this positive word fed to us. And God has led us with some great things that we can get a chance to say throughout this show. And it's a blessing to be able to continue to do this. I love each and every one of you. I love doing this show with Don. We are a full year into doing live shows. This is a total blessing that we've been able to do this for over a year. And it's only going to get better and better. But again, we want you guys to know you are what make us even greater on this show. And that's all I have to say on it. From that point, if Don has nothing else to say, then we're going to sign out of here.
I just want to say, just to like, share, subscribe, and just share this to anybody who may need to hear what we're saying on this particular show. You can always go back to listen to our other shows. We have a whole Facebook page. You can go on there, listen to the shows. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitch. We're on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're everywhere. So whenever you want to go back and listen to some old shows, you can go ahead and do that. Please share this to everyone that you know, because I'm pretty sure they can also contribute something that they can also get, get something from this show that's was said on today. The only thing I want to say is that, you know, I don't know if we're gonna be doing a show next month. Because as you know, just want to put this out there. Me and Nate, we're taking a little vacation with another bro, and so we're probably gonna be, taking a break next month. But you never know. You never know. We might come in here with another topic. I'm thinking about doing another fan choice on whatever you guys want us to talk about, and we're gonna come in here and do it, where it be sports, relationships, life in general, video games, like whatever. Please comment with your fan ideas, your fan topics, and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna put the power in y'all hands this time. So I think we're gonna roll with that. We're gonna roll with a fan's choice on the next
I
episode.
like that. All right. Until next time, this has been your latest episode of Kingpin's Talk Podcast. We will see you guys when we see you.
See
Have
ya.
a good one.
Love y'all.